What's up everybody, my name is Brendan and this is BigBearB Creative. Welcome back everybody to another Sunday landscape photography video. That's right, we didn't have a Friday video this week. We typically do a Friday video every week and then sometimes we'll do a Sunday one. Well, this week we're just doing a Sunday one. We didn't have a Friday one. That was just because work during the week got a little busy, so I ended up having to push Friday's video back today, but we're doing a photo editing video, so it's like nothing changed. We're going to be sticking with our normal, whenever we have a Sunday video, it's always photo editing. That's going to be the same here. So we're going to be jumping on over my computer. I'm going to be showing you kind of what photo we're going to be editing. It's going to kind of be a chill video here. We're just going to go through some photo editing here. And I already did a couple things already, so we don't have to go through the whole process to help speed it up a little bit, make sure this video isn't too long. But with all that said and done, without further ado, let's get on over to my computer and get started editing this photo. So this is a photo that we're going to be editing today, and as I said earlier, I've already done a couple things just to help us out, speed this process along. One is being a crop. I went ahead and put a 4x5 crop on this, and then I've also added an exposure blend, which means that we basically have a bottom photo and then a top photo. This one being the top photo that actually has the exposure for the water, the actual look for the water that I wanted, while the bottom one has the exposure that I wanted for the rest of the area, basically. So I went ahead, brushed in the exposure for the water. I didn't touch any of the other parts. And if you're curious on how I did that or anything, you can check out any of my last like 5 or 6 photo editing videos, because I've been doing a lot of exposure blending. It's a really fun process, especially whenever I shoot waterfalls. So that's all I did there. Went ahead and added the adjustment layer, and then after we do these, we'll finish up by erasing these marks up here where people have spray painted on the rocks. If you go out in nature, don't spray paint on the rocks or anything really. Just don't spray paint things. It's stupid. But let's get into the actual photo editing process here. So I have a little note sheet over on the side to make sure, because I did a little test edit with this to make sure I liked the way it would turn out. So it wasn't showing you guys a bad photo that I edited. Yeah, so we're just gonna go through here and we'll start with it just says develop. It's raw develop in Luminar 3. This is what this section is, but since it's on exposure blend and I'm on an adjustment layer, it's just called develop. So we're gonna start with highlights and we're gonna go down just a little. That's too much. Basically keep this around -9, -10. Basically with this, I just want to bring down the punch from the exposure blend that we put in, because it's obviously a lot brighter, but we'll play with that a little bit. And if you're using a PC, as you could tell up here with my histogram, you can see I have some like caution triangles. It's just a J key. If you press J, it'll let you play with basically clipping of the highlights and the shadows. So if you see I bring the highlights up, they're going to show red. That's because I'm clipping the color there. There's not going to be any detail. So I just drag it down enough to where it's not showing any of the red, and you could go that high. It's going to be a little bit too much for me, so I'm just going to have it be up to about 9. And then you can do the same with black. So if you draw the blacks down enough, where you get the blue, that's completely black. There's no color there. There's no detail. Now, depending on if you want a pure black, you could have a little bit of that black showing. I feel like that's a little bit too much in this case, so I'm going to have it around -36 if I could just slightly adjust it. There we go. And then clarity, I'm just going to add a little bit of clarity to help sharpen up some of the edges of the rocks, because that's what really kind of makes, obviously besides the waterfalls, what makes this photograph, because you have a lot of sharp lines and edges and whatnot, so it's fun to bring that out a little bit. Now we're going to play with the split toning. We're going to leave the highlights as it is because I like the color of the highlights, especially after all the tweaks that we do. But I am going to mess a little bit with the shadows. And then check what I put before. And then we're going to raise that up to about 12. Now what you see here is that we're adding a bit more warmth back to the photo, because the photo originally was rather cool down in the shadows. We don't want that. We want it to all be balanced, warmth and all that. So we're going to split tone the shadows a little bit. And we're going to do a lot of playing here in the hues, saturation, and luminance, starting with saturation. We've messed with a lot of the colors here, so let's start here. We're going to bring out the red because we want to bring out the color of the rocks. You want to get some of that green out of the rocks, because there was a lot of green, which we'll bring out, especially around here. and we'll make sure the trees are nicely highlighted, but we're also going to mess a little bit with their colors because it's all just one solid green. There's not really a variance in there, so we'll play with those a little bit as well. Sorry, I hit my keyboard. Let's play with orange a little bit. Again, trying to bring out more of the natural color of the rocks. I'm going to bring up that green for now. Like I said, we are going to change the, I guess, the tone or the hue of the green a little bit. Mess with a little bit of that. Not that much. That's not bad. And then we're going to bring down some of the blue because, again, we want to get rid of some of that cool and bring out a little bit more of the warmth. So this is what it looked like before the saturations. So it looks like after. You can really see the greens come out a lot, and we kind of not cooled up, but we warmed up the rocks a little bit. I'm going to play with the hue, and we're not going to do as much with the hue. We're just going to turn the yellows into a little bit more yellow. Now what did I do with the yellows again? Double check to make sure I'm getting the same look. And then the greens we're also going to adjust as well. Ooh, I'm gonna go a little bit more. And there. So again, I can tell we really changed the hue of the green. See, if you look up here, they're very green. They're a vibrant green. I have a hair, I believe that's a dog hair on my lip. But after we changed it, we turned them to a little bit more yellow, a little bit more fallish, and since it's turning fall right now, it's very fitting. But that's all we're going to do there. We're not going to mess with the luminance at all. If you could hear the dog in the background, one of the dogs in the background, that's probably why I had a dog hair on my lip. Mess with the foliage enhancer just a little bit. This is going to bring up some of the colors of the trees themselves, and also the moss, as you probably saw here. And we're just gonna again turn them a little bit more warm. So again, before, after, brought up the color, basically made them a little bit brighter while also keeping them a little bit more warmer, keeping away from the cool colors because we're making the entire thing a very warm photo. And then we're gonna add a little bit of structure and sharpening. Just a little bit because again, there is a lot of that's a new word, sharp, jagged edges. So we're gonna just bring them up a little bit without making them too sharp and look a little grungy. And we're gonna add a little bit of sharpening as well. And then the very fun golden hour, which is basically just gonna give, again, a more overall warm tone to the photograph. So let's bring this up a little bit. We don't wanna go too crazy with it. And then we're also going to lower some of the saturation a little bit. So again, before, the bottom down here is very cool still. So we add the golden hour, it helps warm up everything. So once again, we'll jump back to what it looked like at the beginning, a very dull kind of photograph. We wanted to bring out the color, make that waterfall pop a little bit more. So I went in, added the exposure blend, warmed up the photo a lot. Now there's more things you could go into if you wanted to darken some of these areas or make certain areas a little bit brighter. I talked about that in one of my last, I don't think it was last week, I think it was the week before, that video where I kind of showed tips on how to better improve your photo editing, and one of those was doing local editing. So that'd be going through and, having like another brightness thing or just any of these filters, using a circle or a radial gradient or a brush gradient, or not gradient, brush mask or a radial mask, and then like choosing certain areas to make it brighter, make it darker, change the color. But I really like how this is. I don't want to affect the look of it too much more than this because I do like to keep my photos very natural. So again, this is what it was before, this is what it's at now, and now we need to do the real fun and easy, pretty easy thing of fixing the stupid people's graffiti that they put in here. So it's very easy with Luminar 3. Just click up here and go into the erase tool. And it'll do a little bit of preparing. But as soon as that's done, you get, it's basically like a brush mask, and you'll just go in and brush over certain areas that you want it to erase, whatever it is you want it to erase. So I don't know what this is, but I'm just going to erase that. I'm going to erase this leaf. And then we're gonna try to get rid of this as much as we can. It'll probably be a little bit difficult, especially with the branch right next to it, but we'll just hit erase. We'll let Luminar 3 do its thing, and then I'll pop this photo up on the screen for you guys to check out, and then we'll wrap this video on up. Alright, so there the final photo is. I hope you guys enjoyed the process of just going through and seeing how we took a very kind of dull, bland photo, really gave it a lot of color to kind of change the hue of it and made that waterfall a lot more eye-catching, made it a little bit more popping, you know, because the original base photo, it was kind of in between a long exposure and a freeze frame, so the water kind of looked a little weird, but with blending in, you got really a lot more of that long exposure effect. So if you guys learned anything in this video, if you just enjoyed watching some photo editing, let me know down in the comment section below what your favorite part was, if you would have done something differently, if you liked the way I do it, whatever it is, let me know down below. You guys could also reach out to me on my social medias. I'll display them here, and they're always going to be linked down in the description box below. You guys could see the other photos that I've edited there. I also have a bunch more photo editing videos you guys could check out. It'll be at the playlist at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned to the very end if you want to watch more. Yeah, so if you guys do enjoy this video, you could comment, let me know. You guys could also help me out by bear pawing that like button down below. It really goes a long way. And again, telling me you're enjoying these, it's also going to tell YouTube that you guys are enjoying these, and it's going to push out to other people who like the same kind of content. And if you do like this kind of content, we do these every Friday, except for this week. This is actually the first Friday I've missed in like 10, 11 months of doing YouTube videos, so that's pretty good. So about every Friday we do landscape photography how-tos or something, and then as often as I can I'll do a Sunday photo editing video. If we haven't done a photo editing video in a while and I've gotten a little antsy with it, I'll do some on Friday. It just kind of all depends. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, make sure you guys are subscribing. And 2 more things you guys can check out down below besides liking, commenting, and subscribing. The first one is BigBearBCreative.com/eco apparel, where you guys can check out all the merch that I've designed and all that. It's all printed on eco-conscious material, meaning that the actual material used to make the shirts are more eco-conscious. The ways that they grew the material and all that kind of stuff, more eco-conscious, and there are all the designs that I've done on this channel, plus a little bit more, so you guys could check those out. And then the last one is BigBearBCreative.com/prints, where you guys could find links to all my actual photo prints that I sell. You guys can hang up in your home, your office, or wherever it is you guys want a little bit of nature inspiration. So make sure you guys check those out down below, as well as like, commenting, and subscribing. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Be safe during this time, and go be creative.